And we've got Ahsoka now. We just had the 2-episode premiere of Ahsoka, and I've got some concerns about this show. Not only is this show basically a direct sequel to Star Wars Rebels, you might as well call it a new season of Rebels. They give you enough information on like important lore events that you aren't like, okay, well, I don't know the plot going into this one. It's not like that. But the way that the characters in this show are treated assumes that you're already familiar with them from the show Rebels. That you already have an emotional attachment to them, which is a problem because Rebels was explicitly a children's show and this is for general audiences. So a lot of the people who are coming into Ahsoka, probably from having watched The Mandalorian, wouldn't necessarily have seen Rebels. And honestly, even though the show is called Ahsoka, I don't even think she's the main character so far. I think Sabine Wren is the main character, who was a Mandalorian character from Rebels. But I think Sabine has more screen time in this show than Ahsoka does. And a lot of the way that characters from Rebels are presented here, there's a lot of like standing around and folding of arms and looking at each other with sentimentality and talking, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't already know these characters. And it feels like the show is really trying to sell itself on, hey, you grew up with Rebels, now you're an adult, here are these characters, they're now adults too. And I also think maybe there's an issue of transferring from animation to live action where exaggerated movements and personalities are more normalized in animation, but Hera and Sabine from Rebels here in this show, they come off really subdued. It's like, honestly, it felt like in some scenes like they were popping Xanax. And I think it's a difficult tightrope to walk moving from animation to live action. Like the Strange New Worlds Lower Decks crossover worked, but I think part of the reason that it worked is because they were able to take the voice actors who play those characters in the cartoon and just bring them into live action because fortunately they looked enough like their animated characters that you could just do that. Whereas here, they have different actors playing Hera and Sabine than they had voicing them in the cartoon. So there's a lot of, I don't know, Hera especially, she just seems very subdued. I don't feel like she's got the same spunk that Hera in Rebels did. Honestly, even Ahsoka's fight scenes feel a little low energy. And like Ahsoka, she barely has any characterization. Like she mostly just stands and folds her arms while other people are talking, or she fights robots. So I just... My mom watched this, and she told me she only watched the first episode because it was slow moving and she didn't know who the characters were, that she was just like, I don't know, I just don't feel invested in this at all. She loves The Mandalorian, she loves Baby Yoda, and maybe this show, I guess the show kind of has like a cutesy character. There's a Loth cat, Sabine's Loth cat, that has a lot of screen time in it, and it feels like they just threw that in there to be like, hey, look, we've got our Baby Yoda, we've got our Loth cat, but it's just a cat. It's not like a full person like Baby Yoda is. So it seems like the main focus of the plot is picking up at the end of Rebels, when Thrawn and Ezra vanished to parts unknown. It's been so long since I saw Rebels, I don't remember the exact details behind what it was, but it was like they got thrown off to some distant corner of the universe. Seems like what the plot of this one is going to be. So we're going to see people trying to, because the growing Imperial remnants who are eventually going to form the First Order, they want to get Thrawn, and obviously Sabine and Hera. If Ezra is still alive, they want to get Ezra. But if you haven't seen Rebels, Ezra doesn't mean anything to you. So yeah, it's kind of difficult. I don't know how good of a sell this show is for people, We'll see how things go. I don't know how many episodes there's going to be this season, whether it's like 6 or 8 or 12, but we'll see. One performance that I did actually quite like in the show is Ray Stevenson's character, which is very sad because Ray Stevenson actually just passed away a couple months ago. This is his final performance as far as I can tell. Hopefully the show is able to, be a good final performance for him at the very least. But as for Ahsoka herself, for the rest of the show, I'm not feeling it yet. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be reviewing it here. But so far, I'm not that sold on it.
Later that day.
You get the complaint that Ahsoka is weirdly niche, but that's not an issue for those of us who've seen Rebels, and I have talked to people who haven't seen Rebels and who could follow along, okay? Well, yeah, I imagine for people who have seen Rebels, like, I've seen Rebels, so, like, following along is not an issue. Like, I get the plot. If it's only for people who have seen Rebels, that's going to be a problem. And talking about characters who are brought back that are being played by their voice actors, Clancy Brown, he voiced the leader of Lothal, and he's in this one as himself, playing the same character that he voiced in the cartoon. So that's kind of cool. And I know that Lars Mikkelsen, who played Thrawn in Rebels, is coming back to play him in live action. So we get that. And I think that's probably going to help his character a lot. Obviously, the leader of Lothal is not really like a character anybody actually cares about, but it is kind of cool that they brought Clancy Brown to play him in live action. It's actually, I think, the second role that Clancy Brown has played in live action in the Disney Plus Star Wars stuff, because he played that demon-looking dude from the prison escape episode. You're still trying to grasp with the fact that apparently Sabine has force powers or something? Yeah, that 10 years have passed or more since Rebels, so there's a lot of, in that time, Sabine became Ahsoka's Padawan, and then Ahsoka fired her as her Padawan. There'll be more exploration into that, I think. But yeah, that felt not really set up. I guess, like, as she did have Ezra's lightsaber at the end of Rebels, and that's basically all that they had to go on. Dave Filoni is writing this show, so, you know, they are his characters. It was his decision to do this. It's not like they're like, oh, well, we've got a character, let's just make them a Jedi. No, Dave Filoni decided to do this. He's the one who created her, and he's still doing it. But it does feel a little weird. You thought the casting for Hera is very poor. To be honest, she doesn't look like Hera or sound very much like Hera did in Rebels. I like Mary Elizabeth Winstead in a lot of things. I don't feel her in this role at all. She does not feel like she's got any of the energy that Hera had in the show. She doesn't feel like she's got the sass that Hera had in the show in Rebels. I like her as an actor. I've seen her in a lot of other things that I've really liked. Honestly, one of my favorite roles of hers recently was in Birds of Prey, where she played Huntress. Because the way that she played that character, where she's like trying to be the mysterious badass assassin, but like she very clearly doesn't know what she's doing, and it's all like posturing. She played that very well, and I think that is definitely more her speed. You're just glad they got your favorite Rebels character down pat, Chopper. Well, it would be really hard to mess up Chopper, considering he is, a droid. So he has the same voice as before, and he looks the same as before. Yeah. If they messed up Chopper, I would be very surprised. Oh, Dave Filoni voices Chopper? That's great. That's cute. I like that. One of your issues with Ahsoka is you have no context for what the character has been doing all these years. Where was she during the original trilogy? That show better fill stuff in with flashbacks. Yeah, I hope so. I do know that Hayden Christensen's in the show. He's going to be playing Force Ghost Anakin. That's exciting.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm trying to get my channel monetized, so your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. I stream every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Ryan D. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.